Good evening, everybody.
Hi, Adedolapo, can you hear me? Hello.
Hello, I can hear you. Okay. Um, Good evening, everybody. Welcome to today's session. Real quick, we will be having Oladotun Ajayi on board. Like I already said, he's going to be teaching us on writing for social impact today. And I'm just going to quickly go through his citation before we bring him on stage. Yes. Oladotun Ajayi is a 500 level nursing student, a 2023 Diana Award recipient, a change maker, community developer, and a social impact nerd who has over time developed passion for young people to get into personal development and put themselves out there for their career development. He believes so much in the future of young people and has pioneered impact movements for this cause. He is the co-founder of Students on LinkedIn, an organization that helps students navigate LinkedIn professionally. He recently organized LinkedIn Local Ogbomoso, which had about 1,000 attendees. He also believes in the mantra that it is possible to do great things from a small place. Let us welcome together Oladotun Ajayi in a minute. All right, Oladotun, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
And go ahead. Thank you so much.
All right. So, hi everyone. I hope I'm very audible. Am I very audible?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So this evening I'll be speaking briefly on the subject of writing for social impact, and I'll try as much as possible to, be very precise and hit the nail on the head, and try as much as possible to also share the things that are quite needed to share on this space. And thanks a lot to Adedolapo for the opportunity to share on this platform. Yeah. So yes. So first, the subject of writing for social impact is a very broad subject, and it's involves a lot of things that needs to be done to enable that you communicate your social impact um, in a very clear and concise manner, right? And today I'm focusing majorly on the aspect of the LinkedIn platform, right? Because over the years, I've been able to, share my story, and I've been able to write on the platform to, share my stories to people that I have targeted, and I've been able to, create an audience for myself right on LinkedIn itself and even outside LinkedIn platform. So yes, first you need to understand how to go about different strategies to come about writing on LinkedIn when it comes to social impact. And there are different niches in social impact, right? We have different spaces, different people are trying to work on different aspects when it comes to the SDGs, right? And you need to first understand that you need a niche, right? You need to get yourself into a path, right? You need to understand that um you need to be identified with a particular niche before people can, buy to probably your product or the things that you're trying to communicate to your audiences, right? And one of the major things that has helped me over the years is the fact that I've also been able to write to build a community for myself, right? And I've been able to, share stories. One of the major things that I've been able to do, right, on LinkedIn with my social impact is the fact that I indulge myself in a lot of storytelling because, one of the major things, one of the major core aspects of writing is when you can tell your stories to people and to, so many particular audiences, right? So first, you need to have an understanding of what you want to do on the platform, right? And I'll be sharing different strategies that you can use to write on social impact. So first is the fact that you need to understand an approach called the design thinking approach, right? And this design thinking approach is the approach that you can use to solve problems, right? And in the context of writing today, we're going to be, considering the design thinking approach to writing on LinkedIn, how you can solve problems in that aspect and niche that you are in when it comes to social impact. So first is the fact that when it comes to writing, you need to be able to communicate empathy, right? And this comes with a lot of baggages, right? Because I mean people actually connect more with maybe stories, and when you put a bit of emotions to the stories you're trying to tell, right? I could remember I shared the story of myself, I think earlier this year, that was in January, right? I shared the story of my dad. I you know communicated a lot of emotions in that story, and resonated resonated so much with so many people, right, on LinkedIn and outside LinkedIn itself. And I think a couple of blogs were able to, even carry the story itself. So what am I trying to say here? You need to understand the aspect of you, sharing your story with people, and adding a bit of emotions to the story because we are humans and we connect so much with stories and emotions, right? You need to be able to communicate your emotions accurately because I've realized over time that sometimes certain individuals as well don't communicate their emotions the way they should communicate the emotion, right? You don't want to communicate the emotion in such a way that would maybe be detrimental to people that are reading your write up or your story on social media platforms, right? You want to communicate in such a way that would make them understand so much more about the story you're trying to share, right? And that's one of the major things that I've really, hacked and that has helped me on LinkedIn and even outside LinkedIn itself. So yeah, empathy, right? And you need to think about the person whom you're trying to reach with your, content, right? Understanding people that you want to reach will also help you understand much more about how you want to go about, writing the stories to be able to, fit so many audiences of people.
It appears that his network has sort of gone off, so let's just hold on a bit for him to come back and continue. Thank you.
Hear me now.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
All right, thank you very much. So I was trying to say that you need to understand the people that the problem you're trying to solve are for, right? Once you understand like an audience you're trying to target, the problem solving through your writing will be able to, you know, go in a particular direction because sometimes when people are trying to solve a problem through writing, they most times just try to solve like an all-round problem, and that's really going to be vague, right? You need to understand that your content or your write-ups cannot solve everybody's problem. You have a particular, niche and people that your content speaks to, right? And that's very important. That's very, very important when you understand that aspect quite early enough, right? Understanding that your content cannot solve everybody's problem, can only solve like a particular niche problem when you draft out your content to those people's needs, right? So understand that problems are you know the major things that you want to solve, and try to factor a strategy that you can use to communicate with that particular audience. So yes, you also need to understand that once you want to raise awareness about a particular thing through your write-ups, you need to um draft out a particular thing that would enable you to understand.
It would appear that his network has logged him out yet again. Please let's be patient as he logs back in. Well, telecos can be somehow right now. Thank you.
Hello, can you hear now? Hello, hello, can you hear me? Hello, hello, can you hear? All right, all right. So thank you very much. So I was talking about identifying the problem you want to solve. Take for instance, when I got on LinkedIn, I found a niche, right? I found a problem that I needed to solve. I found out that there were just so many minute number of people that are on LinkedIn, right? And I organized my first virtual event. That was in 2021, right? And we had a couple of people join into the virtual session. And over the years, I've been able to create content consistently on the aspects that I am in, right? I've realized, not so many people know so much about LinkedIn. Not so many people are really very vast when it comes to understanding how LinkedIn works, right? And I've over time created content that has been able to solve that problem on that path, right? And that's just understanding design thinking approach behind writing to solve a problem that is related to LinkedIn, right? And over the years also I've been able to, get so many, success of people that probably have read my content and they've been able to learn a couple of things right from the content that I'm able to share, right? So that's me having an understanding of the facts that the things I write is directed to a particular niche, and people have been able to also, understand how their problems can be solved through content, right? So that's writing to, solve people's problems. So identify the problem and find a specific and strategic way to go about solving, your problem through the things that you write, and that can be very relative, and it also depends on the aspects you are in, right? Take for instance, even if you're in content writing niche, you can be able to, draft out content that will be able to help, tangible and so many number of people on aspects that you're in. Take for instance, if you're also in the social impact space, particularly the NGOs, and you want to probably raise funds when it comes to, the event that you're trying to launch out to people. Take for instance, you have an outreach. You can write content that will communicate with people on how to go about um, helping with funds, right? And that's you communicating so much about the things that you've done in the past, right? Making them understand that you've been able to do a couple of things in the past and you've been able to help a couple of lives, and through your result you can also be able to communicate that you need help and you have this particular number of people you want to help and you want to, go about the fundraising project and you really want them to assist you in the process. All this can be done, through writing, and it's also very important and very factual when you have like a concrete understanding of the aspects you are in, right? If you're in a social impact space, once you have a concrete understanding of the aspects you are in, you'll be able to explain so much more things to people as to how you want to solve their problem or you want them to solve your problem, right? So writing is a very, very important aspect that needs to be understood by everyone. And there are so many things when it comes to writing. There are so many things when it comes to writing. You don't just want to write like an individual who is just not concerned about the thought processes when it comes to these things you're trying to communicate. Because I mean, everywhere now you read write-ups every day, right? So you want to communicate adequately and to ensure that your thought process are in alignment. Because I've seen a couple of content on social media whereby people are trying to communicate and in just a single write up, they communicated a lot of things, and at the end of the day, you not really understand what exactly they're trying to communicate, right? So you also have like a good and future packed thought process when you're writing. You need to understand that once you start with a clear approach from the beginning, you follow the same pattern to the end of the write-up you're trying to make in whatever niche that you're in, or in whatever space that you're trying to communicate, or whatever problem you're trying to solve. Right. So understanding these things are actually very important, and it's going to really help you skill fast in your writing journey. Right. And you need to be able to understand that your write-up can help you communicate to several audiences in different spaces too. Right. Take for instance, I am in the social impact space, right? I help undergraduates, navigate LinkedIn and all of that. I can be able to also communicate with not just students, right? People outside the student community space, right? People that are probably in the professional, world, or people that are just generally in the career sector, right? I should be able to understand that my content should also be able to, communicate and extend to people that are outside that space itself, right? That's me understanding the problem I want to solve and the people that want to, benefit from the problem I'm trying to solve, right? So understand that and it's really going to help you, John, right? And you also need to understand the fact that you need to make your research, right, early. Take for instance, if you want to make a post about um a particular space, right? Take for instance a post about how to get a job on LinkedIn. I can actually, start by giving an approach of a survey, right? Try to ask people about the things that they understand when it comes to, getting jobs on LinkedIn and understanding what exactly is their problem on that space, right? So once I collect that kind of survey, right? Once I have that kind of survey from people, from several individuals, maybe from 100 people, I can now use that survey to tailor my approach to the solution I'm trying to solve when it comes to getting jobs on LinkedIn, right? I'll be able to understand so much more things about their pains and how best to solve their problem through the things and pains they are experiencing at that particular point in time. It's also very important because it's really going to help you have a broad scope on how to draft out your content to be able to meet the needs of several individuals. Take for instance, you have like 100 people fill those forms, right? At least 50 people would have the same sort of how do I put it, similar interest when it comes to the problem you are facing, right? Then you can now tailor your approach to solving that problem through the things that you've read from those survey and the things that you've read through people that feel it and try to master the art of crafting the solution through the problems that they try to list in that form, right? So it's actually very important for you to understand these things because they are really going to help you when it comes to you writing to solve a problem in the social impact space. So you also need to, explain the problem to people, right? Sometimes when you are trying to communicate with people and they do not exactly understand what they are going through, right? You can try to communicate that problem through your write-up, and it's really going to, help you maybe win their heart in a particular way, right? And just try as much as possible to, make them understand how exactly you want to solve those problems. Because take for instance, if you want to fix something broken in your car, right, you have to know what exactly caused the problem in the first place, right? So if people don't know the problem that they are facing, right, the approach I just talked about is really going to help you understand so much more things about what they are facing and how best you want to solve that problem through the things that you want to put out to the public to help, solve the problem in general. So that's another very, factual and very important thing that I need to um, talk about. I already talked about identifying the problem, right? And that's one of the major things that would really work when it comes to design thinking approach for writing on LinkedIn when it comes to social impact, right? There are different species on LinkedIn, right? People are, into different social impact niches, right? And there are several approaches to how to solve this problem, but there's a universal principle that can actually work for everyone once you understand the principle of identifying problems, right? Design thinking approach is going to help you understand so much more things about how to structure the process behind how to solve, a problem, right? And that's a principle that can be applicable, in any field and in any um, sector, right? I also need to understand the aspect of call to actions when it comes to you writing on LinkedIn. Take, for instance, you've explained the problems, you've explained how to solve a particular solution. What do you want them to gain, or what do you want them to understand even after all the write-ups? Do you want them to join a community of people? Do you want them to maybe fill a form, right? So these basic things are actually very important when it comes to people reading from you and you trying to solve problems through the write-ups you're trying to make on your pages on your platforms, right? So that call to action is a very important aspect of writing as well because it's the end goal of what you're trying to achieve and it's really going to help you gather people together. That's if you want to organize maybe like a community for people, or maybe fill a form, depending on what exactly you want to achieve through that aspect. But it's still very important for you to understand the end goal right from the beginning, right? Having an approach and structure behind the things that you're doing will help you when you understand the approach and structure you want to give from the beginning itself, right? So from the beginning, you need to understand that you need to have an end goal, right? An end product that will help you understand and maybe channel people to a different platform, or channel people to fill a form, or subscribe to maybe like your email list or something, right? So understanding these things will actually help you well enough to, factor everything together to solve the problem of people through your writing, strategies and all that. So yeah, there are a lot of things to share. However, I really love that we ask questions, right? And I'm sure that Adedola has a couple of questions to ask that I will be answering, through this platform. So yeah, can I have a couple of questions from Adedola? Hello, can you hear me? Hi, Adedola. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Hi, everybody. I'm back. Can Blossom? Can you hear me? Please let me know if you can hear me. Oh, okay. I'm happy you can hear me. Like I said, our speaker is reconnecting, and he will be back soon so that he can answer some of the questions you might have. Also, if you still have questions, please drop them on the group or here. Okay, yeah, he's back. All right, Doctor, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. I can hear you very clearly
Oh,
now.
okay, fantastic. The question I was asking is that when it comes to speaking up for social causes, like some people might have interest in maybe more than one SDG, right? In that case, what would you advise when it comes to writing for social impact? Do you understand my question?
Yes, are you trying to ask that? Take for instance, I mean, say this versus how do go about writing like on my platform on that, right? Is that the question?
Yes. So let's even suppose that, let's imagine that someone maybe runs an organization that operates in like two different SDGs, right? I don't know if you get what I mean. Okay, so maybe you may be a volunteer, for example, now for two different organizations that operate in two different spaces. Now the question is, in that case, like how do you switch up your writing to fit whatever it is that you're trying to write about? I don't know if you get what I mean. Hello?
Yeah, I understand you now.
Okay. You can go ahead, please.
Hello.
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
All right. So I understand the question. Thank you very much for the question. So first, I think there's a point of these things getting intertwined, right? There's a point of connection that all of these things has, right? That you can try what creating content that it not create more disparity between all of this space, right? But first, you can create a structure behind the things that you do, right? Take for instance, I take for instance, I'm into these spaces, right? On LinkedIn, I can dedicate a day, right, for this content. On that day, maybe like on Wednesday now, I can dedicate that day for another content, and on Friday I can dedicate that day for another content. So by this structure, you've created a sort of approach for people to expect this particular content or write-ups from you on those particular dates, right? Which is not going to create any conflict on in the middle of all of these spaces, right? So you just having a particular strategy and structure behind these things would help you understand how best to go about getting the right approach to solving people's problem in different spaces and on different dates as well, right? So you just having a structure behind these things would actually really help you, and the approach of you separating the times to make posts or to create those content would also help you in understanding how best to dish out value to people and help your audience to understand on those states. I think that's really a good approach that would work if you're trying to create content on different niches, right? Yeah, I think that's really going to work.
Thank you so much.
Hello, can
I
you hear
also
me?
have one more question. Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm tired. Network is low again.
I can still hear you.
Kí tó mo ti dààmú náà, ẹ ṣáà gbọ́ ohun tí mo ṣe ń rí.
Hello. Yeah, I think speaker still has a faulty internet. Can you hear me now? I don't think so. All right, everyone, that will be all for today. If you have more questions, you can just ask on WhatsApp and then we'll be communicating them to you. Thank you again for joining today, and yeah, have a good evening. We have come to the end of all the sessions for this edition of Penscape. You can watch out for more from us at Penscape, and of course, we'll be bringing more writing workshops your way. Thank you very much. Good night, everybody.